The double handy, Jay?
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
that will come in handy in prison?
Yeah.
Hi.
it's going to make him very popular. He cares about his polls are going to rise really high in prison.
So, Cliff, what is your take on last night? Obviously, we were saying, it's depressing to watch anybody voting for Donald Trump at this particular point in our history. But, a lot of people saying this is not good news for the Republican Party. I mean, if it was the lowest turnout caucus in a quarter century, right? About 100,000 people voted, 4% of Iowans. Of those, Trump lost 49% of the vote. To what Governor Pritzker just said. What was your take?
Well, and also, look, think about who the Iowa caucus is. So you get the whitest group of people that you can collect. It's like snow on top of rice in Utah. And that's Iowa. And then evangelical Christians on top of that, who are even crazier. And oh my God, Trump won a majority, like a shocker. And as you said, nobody turned out. Nobody. I mean, the real bad news, the news that I was just so happy to see was, and it was hidden in those polls, 43% of those who voted for Nikki Haley said they would consider voting for a Democrat if Trump is the nominee.
Right.
I'm trying to think if they said they were consider or would lean voting Democrat, which is a big difference. I can't remember the other. And either way, that nearly half of Nikki Haley's voters are willing to walk away from Donald Trump in evangelical right-wing Iowa.
I love that you just said sounds like a plan.
Right. I mean, again, this is like the kind of white the NBA was in 1955.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about, the Iowa caucus. So, not good for Trump. No.
Yeah, I love I was talking.
Yeah.
I was talking to the meme about, can we just get to the end of this Trump movie where they flash the titles about how many years in prison they all got? I mean, Chris, give me the Rachel Maddow again, just because I want to get Cliff's take on that as well. Go ahead.
In this incredibly conservative electorate where Trump is going to run away with the Iowa caucuses by a mile and then some, still a third of that electorate says if he's convicted, they're going to nominate him nationwide?
Yeah.
When even a third of Iowa caucus goers say no, he can't be president if he's convicted? I'm sorry, but he's going to be convicted.
Rachel, there's overwhelming evidence in several of these cases. So I can't say what's going to happen, but there's very strong evidence.
I cannot
Go ahead.
He's going to be convicted.
All right.
I mean, that is the wild card, isn't it, Cliff? Even in the Republican electorate.
Yeah, and look, I'm not a lawyer, but I am theoretically someone with a functioning cerebral cortex. I can read images. Donald Trump's going to be convicted of one of these. These cases, a number of them are overwhelming. He will be a convicted felon. I will predict that right now. By the time any general election comes down, maybe in multiple cases. And so you've already got 43% of Haley voters saying they'd walk away. Now you're adding that 1/3. I'm sure a lot of it overlaps, if not all. But the point is that a lot of Republicans are willing to, are just like, I'm conservative. I mean, I've talked to some of these people, and I can't support that. And so I really do think they're in a lot of trouble. And we know the thing about him. I just did a video on this. If anybody else were to even get the nomination, he can't handle anyone else, winning when they beat him. That makes him a loser, which is exactly what he is. So what he would do is he would undermine.
And we were saying about the Black Knight quality of Nikki Haley going, it's a two-person race now after she comes in third. I mean, it's just, this tweet I saved for you. My lone Iowa caucus hot take of the night, how shocking that spending the past year refusing to utter an honest word about Donald Trump resulted in absolute failure for the rest of the GOP field. I mean, they're all pathetic to me.
Well, that's what I mean. It's been 7 years of this, and at some point you just sort of say, what? I mean, it seems like most of them only can garner the courage to say anything about this. Obviously, to go into all these flaws would take hours. He's like the George Costanza character on Seinfeld, who I always believed was a combination of every human male flaw that can exist, right? It's like the 7 deadly sins, plus, breaking all the commandments, plus. So he's this, and they've refused to do it and at least go down with pride.
Right.
I mean, Mitt Romney waits till he's no longer running. Other people wait till they're out of office. Jeff Flake and all of them. Take the damn guy on. I mean, I'll give credit to the 10 that voted for his impeachment. In the Senate and the 7 in the House. Or, I'm sorry, other way around.
Speaking of.
But I'll give some credit there. But I mean, most of them, though, when they can do some good, if you go after somebody in a political race, if you just say nice things about them, and they're ahead of you in the polls, they beat you. I know it's crazy, isn't it? But when you compliment...
Speaking of Seinfeld, it's just the primary about nothing. It's just, no one's running against Donald Trump. It's all irrelevant.
There's no real issues, right? Everything's made up. Hey, there's another caravan coming from South America. It's like a Steven Seagal movie or something. There's nothing actually happening in this country. There are no problems we have, from climate change to out of control gun violence to any number of things that they're willing to talk about, because they're owned by all of the wrong people who like those things. So they have no solutions to anything. So it's, let's not sign, let's not join on an immigration deal, just like they did in the past numerous times. And blame it, and they admit it out loud too.
And speaking of the evangelicals, Cliff, it's so jarring to watch these interviews with people about, saying, I'm conservative, family values, so I'm voting for Donald Trump. I mean, it's just, you see these memes of Jesus with his hand on Trump's shoulder, or Trump hugging Martin Luther King. You're just like, oh my God, what alternate reality are these people actually living in? But someone was saying...
There is an alternate reality. It's called Jonestown. Is what it's called. I mean, they again, look, I know you have John Fugelsang on regularly, and he's more qualified than I am with his Christian background and everything. But I did go to Episcopalian school in New York for 10 years, and I did learn a few things about that guy called Jesus. First of all, he wasn't white. But okay, we'll move on from that. The thing that like, it'd be like if Jesus kicked the lepers, found found the guy on the highway, who needed help, and ran him over with his car. Went up to people that were hungry and showed them those burritos they make at Trump Tower, and then eat it himself.
Jesus, if he were bad Santa. I mean,
serving up taco bowls.
Bad Santa, they can call themselves. But I've often thought much of evangelical Christianity, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, is a cult, and they're proving it. By the way,
I was saying, I think it was Joy Reid's line where, when he said, oh, it's okay if you die, come out in the cold and vote for me. And she said, that's the difference between a religion and a cult. A religion is, he died for your sins. A cult is, I expect you to die for me. I mean, which he already has.
Right. Donald Trump's like the David Koresh who's like, hey, come join the compound. It's all good here. You're going to have a great time. I mean, it's not, it's no longer
Ashley Babbitt died for his sins, it's...
it's not a party. It's not, their evangelical Christianity is not a religion. Because, again, if they believed anything they claimed to believe, Jesus was literally, in everything ever written, the exact opposite of Donald Trump.